What's going on, everybody? I'm here with Mr.
Joseph Reese.
And congratulations. What did you finish? Fourth place, playing what?
Purrely.
Nice. At the Age of Overlord Regional here at Cool Stuff Hollywood. You did finish fourth. How do you feel about that?
Good. It was actually my first regionals or YCS I've ever attended, so I'm glad to.
What?
Yeah.
I've seen you for a while. You've got to play some kind of regional somewhere else.
I do really well, but I usually only get to, because of personal and work-related reasons, I only get to play like Sunday tournaments and things like that.
Okay, well, so congratulations. Thank you for giving me the honor to have a deck profile of this.
Of course. Thank
All right,
you.
before we go into the list, any shout-outs?
My family is really supportive. My older brother, Yakov, I always brainstorm. He's not very good, but I brainstorm with him at least. And then everyone here, I'm actually going to have to proxy 3 cards because someone lent me their enemy controllers, which you'll see later.
Okay.
So I appreciate it to Shane, who lent me their enemy controllers. And everyone at Cool Stuff's always really nice to me, and it's a great environment.
Nice. All right, so let's get right in.
All right, so the main deck is going to be pretty cookie cutter. 3 regular Purrelys, and then 3 mismatched rarity Purrelys, which honestly hurts my soul. 3 My Friends, 3 Field Spell, of course. This is like the best card in the game right now. The 1 trap card, and all these spells. I think that's what you're going to see in every single list. 3 Fenrir. I think this card is really good for obvious reasons. Some niche times that Fenrir comes up is, for example, with Impulse. If you're playing against a fire, a Rescue Ace deck, what you want to do is you want to set up a Fenrir if you have it, and then you want to set up your Noir, and you don't want to put a Delicious Memory underneath it because their Impulse can actually just negate your Noir with its effect, because the Noir will be the highest monster in the field. But if you have a Fenrir as well, then the Fenrir is now the highest monster in the field, and it gets rid of that Impulse exchange, which I think is one of the strongest plays that Rescue Ace has against Purrelys, but that kind of gets negated with the Fenrir. 3 Ash Blossoms, pretty obvious. 3 Effect Failures. I like this card a lot. I was kind of over-prepared for Rescue Ace, maybe. And the Effect Failure also is a really nice card to draw off of. I think so many people are playing cards like XYZ Encore in their side deck that you really need to be able to draw negations off of your draw 4 or draw 6. So having hand traps like an Effect Failure, even though it's pretty low impact, it's general enough to be played. And then 3 Imperms, which is kind of the same idea. Imperm feels a little bit worse because you can't draw it off of your draw 6. Typically, I'll actually side out my 3 Imperms for something stronger in the side deck going first, game 2 or 3, because drawing into Imperms from your draw 6 doesn't do anything for you. Then there's 2 Pot of Prosperities. I think most people play 3. I don't really like 3 Pot of Prosperities. I find game 1 is incredibly underwhelming, as there's really nothing that you want to dig for. And then games 2 and games 3, it lets you see some blowout cards, which are nice. I think this is like one of the more cuttable cards. I think if you are on a budget and you can't play Prosperity for whatever reason, you don't really need to play this card. It's fine. And then the last 2 cards, which we don't have, but because I already gave them back to the person I borrowed them from since they left, were 3 enemy controllers. I brought the card up on my phone just in case if it's pretty old. It was pretty good. I think this format is really diverse. I think all the decks are kind of bad. And a card like Enemy Controller was really versatile in a lot of matchups. For example, in the Purrely Mirror match, what you can do is you can go draw phase, activate any of the quick play spells, because they're always going to be live whenever your opponent's going first. So draw phase, you activate any of the quick play spells, you summon out, let's say, a Purrely, and then you maybe hit, maybe you don't. And then when they do the trap card onto their Baby Noir, you just go Enemy Controller, tribute the Purrely you just summoned, you steal their Baby Noir, and now that card is live for you for the rest of the turn, so you could rank up with it into your own Zeus, and then also set the trap card with its own effect, which is really neat. And it's obviously good against Rescue Ace, and it's obviously good against any targeting or any 2 or 3 interruption boards. I broke a Manadium end board with it. pretty easily because they kind of just waste 2 of their negates on just 2 cards in your hand. Like you just normal summon Purrely, then maybe they imprimit, and then you go enemy controller, and then they have to negate it with Baron. So you went, and then if the Purrely hits something, you still have 5 cards in hand, but you got rid of 2 of their negates. So the main deck is pretty cookie cutter in that way. I think if I were to change anything, it would be maybe to move the 3 Drolls in my side deck back into my main deck, as I kind of wish I had them against the Infernoble player, as we both lost. I lost to him in round 6. He was the person who I played until I was undefeated. And then your extra deck is going to be also pretty simple. You have all of the Purrely extract monsters. So you have, this is pretty basic. I think maybe 2 beauty is kind of contested. I think you can probably get away with 1. I like 2 because I think I would rather end off with playing the Purrely engine and trying to get my draws, since I do have Effect Failures and Ash Blossoms and all those cards in my deck that I want to draw into, as opposed to ending off on a Zeus that wipes everything out, and then the rest of my Purrely cards are kind of not in play. I think also the Purrely cards are really fun, so just being able to play with them as opposed to Zeus is more interesting to me. Then you have this. I saw that Pack was playing. I think the Pack like cut this card entirely, which is something to think about, but I don't think it's worth it. This definitely came up and almost won me a couple of games. And then you play this card just because it didn't come up, but it could, and it seems pretty good. It's one of those cards that are weird because you don't know exactly what situation this card will be good in, but there will be a situation in which it will win you a game, and you just can't predict it. So I think if you have the space, you just have to play it. This is for time. This is the best card in the game right now, but I think Purrely of all the decks right now in the meta optimizes it the least, since it's kind of awkward. If you notice, I don't play any like rank ones. I know some people play the Princess Sprout. I know some people play the other Lyrilisk monster. My ideology with this deck is to play super conservatively. So if I have, let's say, a Purrely in hand, and I'm normal summoning it, and I'm getting the continuous spell, and then I add the quick play, the sleepy memory, I'll oftentimes, and I have another one in my hand, another quick play in hand, I'll just use my sleepy memory. I won't summon anything. I'll rank up, and then I'll use my other cards, and then I'll just end off with literally just this 1 card. I think this is like a stronger end board than trying to waste all your resources in your hands. I typically have 1 hand trap in my hand, and then the rest of my hand basically makes this exclusively. So just discarding the hand trap to maybe hit off of this card just doesn't seem worth it to me. I'd rather just not gamble and know what my end board will look like every single time, even if that means I'm sacrificing a tiny bit of power. In reference to some of the side deck cards people are playing XYZ Encore a lot, so even just being able to set something like an enemy controller, so when they Encore you, and then you get your level 1 guy back, you can use that as an additional disruption, I feel like is a little bit more powerful than discarding the Encore in order to make some sort of other large XYZ play that doesn't really land you anywhere. Side deck, these 3 cards were played for the Rescue Ace matchup. I know that the Rescue Ace matchup is, these cards are kind of hit or miss. My idea with this package was that if they had some sort of way to set 4 and also have like some sort of way to play around a hand trap, the hand trap, like the Effect Failure, can negate out, let's say if they have a Baron out, it can negate out the Baron or can negate out the rank 4 negates. But then this card will blow them out, and vice versa. So I think these cards are good, and most importantly, they're searchable off the pot, which is one of the main reasons why I'm still playing the pot. The other 3 cards you search off the pot are the summon limits. I think go first cards in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Are pretty bad in general. If your deck can't win going first, then your deck is just not that good, which I unfortunately think Purrely is just not that good of a deck. I know I did well with it, and I don't think there is a really good deck out there right now. I think all the decks are kind of just mediocre, which might upset some people to hear, but it's probably just the truth. and summon limit just is an auto win. So if you can see this, or if you can see the pot, which then shows you this, you've won most of your games. The other go first card, quote unquote, is Dimension Shifter. What you can do is, if you have any way into the Sleepy Memory, going first, you can, let's say you normal summon a Purrely, right? And then you get the continuous spell card. The continuous spell card can then search you the Sleepy Memory. You go Shifter, Chainlink 1, and then the Sleepy Memory, Chainlink 2. The Sleepy Memory hits the graveyard, and then you just continue playing and do your conservative play like you would normally. You're ending off on the same board, but you Shifter lock to your opponents, so when you're playing against the really heavy the really heavy combo matches, like Tier Elements or anything like that, just because the typical Tier Elements hand might be able to break this conservative looking end board. This card is really good going first as well, which I think is not something I see a lot of Purrely players doing, but probably something that they should start thinking of. This is for the mirror match, and this card is kind of for Despia. I don't really respect that deck though, so maybe you want to play 3 and just cut the Buka Moons. These cards came in against Unchained just because DDD auto wins you. I actually played against the DDD guy who got 3rd. I played against him around 5, and the enemy controller was able to just break his entire board. So just another instance of enemy controller being good. And Droll and Lockbird, this might go into the main deck as instead of enemy controller. There's really a long discourse that could be had about this card. I think it's really good when it's good, but really bad when it's not, and it could always be used as a discard. So maybe even as a 2-of you can play, and then hopefully you draw it off the top 6, and then that just wins you the game. And yeah, that's the full deck profile.
Well, congratulations and thank you for this profile. Hopefully I see you more at the upcoming events.
Yeah, let's hope.
Let's go. All right, congrats.
Thank you.